Hello humans and various assorted weirdos. I decided to turn on the Bibites again after taking a very long hiatus. It's still 5.1. I do know that it's going to be wishlist available on Steam, so it's coming out. But what I loaded into was, progs, because that was my baby, that was my obsession. It was everything that I wanted to create. And I was impressed with their behavior. I very much enjoyed watching them do their thing. And I remembered some of the goals that I had for the last time that I played. I know I wanted to create a very long-lived scavenger type creature, right? And so what I've done is I've taken the prog predator brain and I've made a small modification to their genes. I changed their diet from 1 to 0.5. Now what this means is that they can actually gain energy from plants. Plants are no longer toxic to them. However, they also don't use meat quite as well as they used to. They get reduced energy gain from meat. So they don't grow as fast as the pure predator version. And they don't lay nearly as many eggs. And the eggs are very necessary for the predators because there's a very high infant mortality rate. They often use the egg-laying mechanics to create little missiles that will sacrifice themselves to kill things, which feed other progs. There's not going to be nearly as many of these guys, so they're not going to have the opportunities to do so quite so much. This is a hypothesis. Bibites has proven me wrong every single time I've talked about it, so I will be wrong, right? Watch them do anything else. But these guys, they're sitting here at 31,109 generations. This is basically how long it's been since they were a default Bibite, plus probably a couple thousand generations of me playing around without properly keeping record of this. This guy, he's been alive for 500 seconds. My goal is get these things living for hours, several hours. They are definitely a predator in their current state. If there is not meat on the field, they will seek one of these whales and kill them, like this guy is attempting to do, but he's latched onto plants. Now, just because they can gain energy from plants does not mean plants are beneficial to these guys yet. Consider plants to be just enough to sustain their metabolism. That's kind of the goal. I want plants to be something that they can't use to grow. And the reason being that plants are just batteries, right? They have to continue killing things and eating the meat in order to grow and populate. I figure, and again, this is just my hypothesis, if I can get them to eat the plants, I can get them to survive for extremely long periods of time and create just a more advanced Bibite through this process. They're great at killing. They do a great job of dodging themselves, right? That may have changed because I think a lot of that was color-based. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to try to decode their brain. It's been too long since I've looked at this game to be able to do that. But the theory is they will be able to subsist off of plants. The brain right now is just a predator's brain, so it hasn't evolved to take use of the plants properly. It's mostly just evolved to avoid them entirely, because for the pure predator version, getting a face full of plant means death. They will starve to death. And that leads into a different mechanic for these guys entirely. The reason they starve is because they consume a tremendous amount of energy when they have something in when they're biting something. And they turn whatever is in their stomach into energy and growth, or eggs, depending on how mature or adult the thing is, and hold on to whatever's in its stomach in between that as sort of a battery, a range extender, so to speak, which I think is just a fantastic little feature. But see here, he has a full stomach and he is gaining energy, and is just enough to cover his metabolism. Its metabolism? What are these things? I keep calling them he's, but I don't. They're all perfectly capable of laying eggs. My queen, my she, my ladies, my little ladybugs. So I did have to go through and eliminate all of the peer predators in order to get these guys to reproduce properly. They just couldn't compete with the reduction in their ability to reproduce. So they're holding on. They keep making new generations, and they don't seem to be sticking. But I have faith in this process. I've seen it work so many times before. And well, we are 4 generations in. We were at 31,108 when we started. So I consider them to be relatively stable at 100 generations. I know it's really stable if you can get to 1,000, and you know, that's where I save it and make a whole new species branch. So this one's gonna die. Maybe? Yeah, it's gonna die. It hasn't figured out the difference between plants and meat yet, and it doesn't want to be eating the plant, but it's got a face full of it. It's gonna die. I'm sorry, bud. 3114. Okay, we are now 6 generations. Nope, 5 generations. Nope, 5 generations in. Get to watch a lot of these things die because they are very good at that. So another thing I'd actually kind of like to do is I'm going to drop in a basic bibit, just the default, the generation 0 bibit, to see, kind of showcase just how different this behavior is. And I'm going to do it right here in the center. So place bibit, basic bibit, select, drop my dude in, and we're just going to watch this guy. This guy's brain is extremely easy to comprehend. We have a constant which feeds a negative into their digestion, and a constant that feeds a positive. Positive into going forward. There's plant closeness, more plant closeness, slow down. This is plant angle, and the plant angle dictates, where do I go? So the thing moves forward, sees plants, eats them. That's generation 0. It does a great job of it. It's just, this is it, man. This is it. I'm not going to spawn another one in. Oh, we got a little baby. This is it. They've come a long way. So let's go back to the newest generation. This guy's about to die. 5 generations in. 5 generations in. I don't think this one's going to make it either. I will show no mercy on you, my child. In fact, I will not show pity on you either. For I know that you have the capacity to survive. And the will. Just no food. You don't have the sustenance. I won't take pity. I won't take pity because it's a little piece of digital life. It doesn't have life of its own. It is a mere fractal image of life. Still beautiful nonetheless. I love these things. They make me so happy. Yeah, rip that guy. How are we doing? Nope. So we just lost all of our higher generations. This guy's only 2 generations in from spawn, which, it just means this is not stable. It's not stable in this environment. There are a few things I could do to change that. I could reduce the decay of meat, so that meat stays on the field longer. Since we don't have the ability to send just a whole bunch of babies out to go kill other things, it may be prudent to do so. So if I go in here to the energy balance parameters, I can set the decay rate from 0.09 to, I'm just going to reduce it by 1 because I know each integer makes a huge difference when it comes to the evolution of these creatures. And the risk of lowering that number and making it so the meat lasts longer is that the Bibites may find that there's just enough food laying around all the time that they don't have to hunt anymore, and they become scavengers instead. And I do have these labeled as scavengers, but I don't really want them to be true scavengers. I just want them to be extremely long-lived predators that I can drop into most ecosystems and expect good results, which that alone is folly to believe. They're always going to suck when you first drop them in. Always. They're more complex, but chances are you're going to die. That's mostly true with predators. If I drop the prog whale into another soup that doesn't have anything there, it's going to do great, right? It knows how to deal with plants. It knows how to make babies. It does a great job. But these guys, predators, man, things that eat meat, are so finicky. They need the perfect environment or they're going to die. Which actually kind of, in a way, impacts their evolution by just making it so that they cycle so much faster, right? They don't live very long, so they go through generations faster than a herbivore would. See, 20,000 as opposed to 31,000. And a lot of that is me not updating my herbivores, but still, if I press O, it's going to be an herbivore. It's not going to be a predator, ever. If I press the button that says, show me the oldest, this is what you get every single time. This one's going to die too. It's alright, buddy. You lived your life. And I did just make the change. This particular simulation, you have to remember, when you make a change, it takes some time for that change to have full impact. So just because I reduce the decay rate doesn't mean there's suddenly just a lot of meat on the field. It just means that there will be more meat on in the future. And I have the temptation to go in and further adjust the decay, which, you know, it's oversteering. You're going to cause yourself to crash doing that. I have to resist. Remember, 0.1 at a time. They're doing a great job. I have faith in these little buggers. You know, maybe I could also potentially turn up the vegetation so that there is more prey in general. I'm gonna do that. This is gonna be a long one, folks. I'm sorry. Let me see, world. Fertility factor. I'm gonna turn biomass up to 0.9. Boop. X. And we can watch this happen here. This is the energy count. Plants currently account for just under 600,000 energy. It's 580 something. And that should go up. Fairly soon. I mean, it's 590 now. I feel like I'm taking away from this by staring at it so much. But yeah, this guy's off in the boonies doing nothing. This is the end fate of so many. And you'll see this with all the way from basic Bibites. You see your Bibites fly off into the oblivion. It kills so many, and that's why we have this great big arching search pattern. It's one of the most important things that a Bibite can learn, is how to double back when it's out in the void. And this guy does a great job of it. He still has energy. He doesn't have a battery in his belly, but he still has energy. He just might make it back. Nope. He's going to make another loop. Good night. I'll stick with you just a little bit, all the way to the end, because you were a good one to follow, and I'll miss you briefly. Next. All right, so this one's also sort of on the verge of the great big black zone, and it's important for predators to sort of stay out in this zone because they do have to avoid the plants typically, and these ones included. If they touch plants while they have the ability to digest and gain energy from them, they will die. So they often live in the sort of limbo space, especially since the herbivores have to deal with the same problem. They have to deal with the fact that there's nothing out here. And it makes them easier to hunt because there are fewer of them and there are fewer distractions. I forgot where I was going to go with that. It's all right. Just watch the Bibites swim. Do its thing. This guy's an absolute champion. He's laying eggs, making babies. Look at him making babies. He's going to do it again. Watch this. There's a baby. How many generations in are you? You're a third generation. I have faith in this generation. There's another baby. This one's probably not going to do very good. And I have a sinking suspicion that you're going to die too because you just laid an egg out in the boonies. Can I see who's next? Yes. I don't want to watch him die. I've seen too many of that. It's not a good place to die. Now, what I've seen from other people is the scavengers are very much the same. Scavengers will exist in this sort of liminal space around the islands, just picking off things that drift too far away. When you have really, really big prey, that's a lot of energy for a little scavenger to subsist on. You just about got bit. But, you know, a little bit more nutrition. It's enough to lay an egg. And we are 4 generations in. The whales are still strong. They're 230. I'm not really seeing a sharp incline from raising the amount of plants on the field. I'm also seeing that the plant energy has remained largely the same. And I'm wondering if maybe that change happened quicker than I expected and I was watching something else. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to raise the biomass density again to 10. And I'm going to go over here and just watch this. Huh. I think I'm crazy. That's all. I know nothing. I don't know how this game works. I don't know anything about life at all. I'm just crazy. You were doing such a great job. Why'd you leave? You got a little bit of battery. You'll get a little bit more here. Good job. You know, I think you'll do all right. And they turn kind of on a right hand, so I think typically you'll end up finding a pattern where they migrate counterclockwise around the island. I could just be hypothesizing again. I don't know anything. I have no data to support this. Just the whimsical ramblings of a madman. We are up to 20 population for the scavengers, which means we have definitely not spawning them in right now. We only spawn more in if there's less than 10. And, you know, 6 generations in. Definitely not stable. Where are we at? We're on the eastern side here. He's going to do a great job picking this little piece of this meal apart. There was enough left over for the baby to have a meal on its way out. So that shows a lot of promise for having another generation right there. The fact that one was basically born with food in its mouth. We're actually showing a really sharp decline in the whales. And I wouldn't imagine that 10 extra scavengers would remove a population of like 60. But what do I know? I don't know anything. I just exist here. I just watch these things. And I'm wrong most of the time. You're about to die. You did. This one's about to make babies. Yeah. So we had a huge population collapse. We're down to 10 again. We are, in fact, spawning in more scavengers. But the whales are seeming to recover a little bit. They're back up to almost 200 population. This guy is sitting at a perfect equilibrium, almost, with a plant and a couple pieces of meat just slowly digesting in its belly. More than enough for it to make that crossing into a more nutrient-rich zone. It's unfortunate that it got a belly full of plant, but, you know, it's doing ultimately what I wanted it to do. So I'm satisfied with that, at least. It's still growing, it's still laying eggs. And I still have hope for it. They're doing a great job. They're just not doing a great job for enough generations to truly adapt to this situation. Yeah, it's going to do another job. I don't think it's going to survive this one. It might eat the baby, but I think it's dead. It has become something to be scavenged out in the field. Good night. It has been a joy, a pleasure watching you. What's up with you? You're just a little guy, swimming around in a sea of nothingness. Oh, look, a somethingness. Oh, more somethings, and it's dead. It did not survive the somethings. Also kind of way out there. Also very... Are you going to see the corpse? You are going to see the corpse. You will make babies. Maybe. You fled the corpse. Will you create another corpse? Apparently not. You're not showing your predator strengths here. Ah, yes, you have found a piece of corpse. You will make babies. And it is in fact going to create a corpse. It will make many babies. And its babies will likely make babies. You're doing a great job, bud. I could not be more proud of you. Look at that. Made a baby. It still has enough energy to probably make this jump. It's going to stop here at this little bit of crunchy foodness, eat something from there, and have almost nothing to show for it. That was just abysmal. I'm sorry, you might die, but I think... No, you have enough energy to get back into the nutrients. And there are so many nutrients, it's just that they're bitey nutrients. Or not. Nope, you're going to do great. You are going to do great. Nope, you got bit by a nutrient. Oh, I had forgotten why I love this simulator so much. This is the Bibites. It's wonderful. If you get this far, thanks for watching. Bye.